Welcome, everyone. Wherever you are on the internet, we're glad to have you with us, hurtling 74,000 miles an hour through space. And we're about to do episode 4 of You Cannot Make This Shit Up. So let's hope
you can't.
Let's hope we enjoy it. With me tonight is Paul Elam.
Hello, folks.
From An Ear for Men and a Voice for Men, and I'm Tom Golden from Men Are Good. And we're going to talk about 4 crazy stories tonight that you really cannot make up. And I mean, you cannot make this shit up. Right, Paul?
That is absolutely right. And as usual, we had a large selection of stories to cull through.
Gosh.
There's so much stuff out there that you really simply can't believe is not made up anymore. But we have done the work for you. Here on this program, we have sorted through all of it, and we have found the 4 most outrageous examples of shit that you cannot make up.
They are crazy. And the first one is, meet Britain's worst wife. And she's proud of it. Kate won't cook, won't clean, and only makes love to her husband, who works and does all the chores once a decade.
Well, so, Tom, precisely how is she different from other women? Is she just better at not having sex than other women are?
Oh, God. Yeah, and not doing chores and not doing anything. I mean, this woman doesn't do anything. She stays at home and works. And, you know, you'd think that she was the breadwinner, right? That somehow she was the breadwinner and therefore she's doing less chores and blah, blah, blah. No, he's the breadwinner. But she stays at home with the kids, but he does all the work with the kids. And he cooks, and he cleans, and he does everything.
So he's the world's most stupid husband.
Well, yeah. I mean, just think about the sex thing. Once a decade?
Well, stupid husband, but I repeat myself. Anyway.
Oh, God. Listen to what she says. This may make me sound selfish, but I'm just going to be honest. At 39, I've never ironed a single item of my husband's clothing. I rarely cook for him either. Why would I bother when he's so much better at it than I am?
Make you sound selfish? That lady, that makes you sound selfish?
It's pretty bad, eh? Pretty bad. Now, just imagine, Paul, that this situation, that, you know, this article, they do it kind of, they're being funny about it, but frankly, there's not a whole lot of humor in it as far as I'm concerned. But just imagine it was twisted the other way. And it was the man who's staying home with his kids and refusing to do any housework, refusing to do any cooking, cleaning, whatever. I mean, what? People would be up in arms, right? They'd run him out of town.
Yeah, and I know that it'll get some of the guys pissed off at me because there's always this debate about who's more intelligent between men and women. But, you know, I never met a woman stupid enough to take that deal. But I've met a few men that are dumb enough to put up with that, like this guy. It's a sad, sad story, but it's just the moral of the story for me is the same as always. You know, for every gold bricking whore out there in the world, there's a schmuck in a jewelry store buying her a tennis bracelet. We don't get there without enabling, guys. And this guy, he's the king of it.
Well, and in some ways, I mean, the guy says he's happy. So, I mean, what can you say? Maybe he is. Maybe he likes doing
that's
everything.
Exactly what she tells him to say and what he knows he better say. What's he going to do? He can't tell her no to taking care of the kids.
Exactly.
He can't tell her no to cooking a meal, to cleaning something. You can't even get her to respect their home.
It's hard to imagine it's hard to imagine they have any kind of relationship because there's no capacity to kind of compromise and say no, and it's pretty strange.
And you really got to wonder about a guy that would just be okay with that kind of story running in the media. I mean, did they name this lazy bitch?
Oh, yes. Her name is Kate Thompson, I think it was.
Oh, well, he's lucky that there's a really, really commonly used last name.
She is a magazine editor for a woman's magazine, and
Oh, she
apparently,
does work.
oh yeah, she works from home, but all she'll do is write. She won't cook,
Oh, okay.
clean, or anything else, and she doesn't make as much money as he does. So it's like, but she claims she's a workaholic, and in so doing, she just only works. She doesn't think about the
Yeah,
kids.
she's so addicted to work she can't clean up her own mess. Yes, I know.
Exactly, Paul.
Of course,
Exactly.
yes, she absolutely. She must be a workaholic.
But she is the editor of a women's magazine.
Oh, why color me not shocked.
Yeah, and I looked her up. I found the magazine and looked her up, and sure enough, it looks like that's her, editor of this
Man.
fairly successful women's magazine in
Well,
Great Britain.
Tell us, Tom, what magazine is it?
Oh God, Paul, I forget what it was now. I can't remember.
Okay, probably
we'll put it in the information. I'll find it and we'll put it in.
We'll find it later if you want to know
it.
what shit rag this absolutely lazy, good for nothing woman edits.
Oh boy.
But like I said, I wouldn't put up with that crap, but apparently there's at least one guy in the UK who will.
I think there is. And on that note, Paul, why don't we go to your first one?
Yeah, why don't we talk about men reacting a little bit more sanely than this guy has to his wife?
Yeah.
The American Heart Association has put out some information, very interesting stuff. And of course, you would think in these gender times with heart disease killing, 4 or 5 times as many men as women, that they would do a premium story about how women really get affected by heart disease more than men. But this actually wasn't one of these stories. It turns out that women who are in legitimate need of CPR are being left to die. This is straight out of the American Heart Association because men are hesitant to give them CPR. Why? Because they are afraid of sexual assault or allegations of some sort of inappropriate license with them physically. And this, by the way, does include healthcare providers.
Oh, God.
Yes, EMTs, stuff like that, emergency personnel are less likely. Yes, read
Really?
the link below, folks. Read it. They are less likely to give CPR when it's needed to women, and women are dying because of it.
The chickens come home to roost.
And that is, Tom, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
This is the chickens coming home to roost. I think it's terrible. I think it's a tragedy. It's horrific to me. All joking aside, people dying because but guess what? The men's fears are legitimate.
Yes, they are. Absolutely legitimate.
And I can't blame them. It's not like I'm saying I'm horrified by this story, and I am horrified by this story. I'm horrified that somebody who might have been saved, would die in an earlier death over this. But do I blame men for following Mike Pence rules to this degree? No, I don't.
Right.
They have every reason to be fearful. Ladies, listen up. Not only are men deciding not to hire you, not only are they deciding not to be in the same room alone with you with a door closed without an eyewitness, not only are men beginning to record half of the activities in their lives because they're afraid of you, now they're willing to let you die. So congratulations, feminists. You've done a great job. Look at what you've done, and the result is dead women.
Yeah.
What can I say? I don't know what else to say about this terrible story, except that, Tom said it all. The chickens have come home to roost. And guess what? I don't think, Tom, this is the end of it. I think
it's going to get worse.
Get much worse.
Yeah.
Because feminists are doubling down on Me Too.
Yeah. I mean, they've done everything they could to scare the shit out of men and not to touch women, not to even say, oh, she's pretty. I mean, it's like, what?
Oh, can't say, oh, nice blouse. Oh, don't you dare say something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because you'll end up on the wrong end of the lawyers.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't do anything wrong, which is like 99% of the complaints. I'm going to point this out like I do every time this comes up, Tom. If you look from Emmett Till all the way up into Hofstra and the Duke Lacrosse rape case and Dominique Strauss-Kahn, you look at all these high-profile rape allegations, all of them lies. All of them lies. What does that tell you about what's happening to guys who don't have any way to defend themselves, who don't have big money for lawyers, who don't get a huge amount of media attention? You know, Jackie, the UVA story. I mean, all these, again, Crystal Gail Mangum lied her ass off about being raped and then went and murdered her boyfriend. She had to kill somebody before the authorities were willing to take her seriously. And it just, this is really, really bad. It's really bad stuff. What can I say? You know, people that want to criticize men for going their own way, they want to say that MGTOW's the wrong thing to do. MGTOW are looking right back at them and saying, fuck you.
Yep.
And I don't blame them.
I don't either.
Good grief.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Good grief, but it's in there in the description area, folks. You go in and read all about it. This is not just an opinion piece. It's a study from the American Heart Association.
Yeah, it's like they've done 2, I think, so far, 2 studies, and they're going to do more. They even did a virtual reality study, which was fascinating what they did. They used these virtual reality headsets and tested people, and they would literally put the resuscitation dummy right where in the virtual reality, the person was going to fall down and be there. So in virtual reality, the guys that were there would go over and, start pumping or doing whatever, or avoid it completely. So
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see, if they had a really attractive woman versus someone who was not so attractive, and if that would make a difference in whether they would.
Well, what might help ladies, if you've got a heart condition, start getting bras printed with "I won't sue."
Yeah.
And see if that doesn't help you survive the next episode with your heart.
Oh God, Paul, I won't sue, written right there.
Or, tattoo it in your cleavage.
On your solar plexus, exactly.
Yeah, I won't sue.
Right above the sternum where the hand needs to go, where that heel of your hand goes.
Or get yourself a feminism is cancer tattoo. That might help prompt somebody to help you, whereas they might not if it's not there. This is all, sort of funny stuff in a way, but good Lord.
It's crazy. And people's lives are, in danger because of it.
As they say, you can't make this shit up.
I know you can't. And that's the truth.
Phew. What do we got next, Tom?
Oh, man. Next up. Crazy, 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 Paul. Techno-masculinity. University of Idaho. I know, it's funny just to think about it. University of Idaho professor Robin Johnson argues...
They really did make that up. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
University of Idaho professor Robin Johnson argues that male gamers promote techno-masculinity in a recent academic journal article. Techno-masculinity. And guess what they're saying about this techno-masculinity thing, Paul? They're saying that this is just another branch. It's another branch of toxic masculinity.
Of the hegemonic.
Hegemonic masculinity. Of course, the hegemonic, they quote Connell in this article about, well, this is the branch of hegemonic masculinity according to Connell, la, 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 la. And for people out there who might not know who Connell is, he's the man who wrote the book on gender. For most
Australian gent.
Australian
transgent, excuse me.
Trans woman, because he became a she. And I have a friend who went to a conference where Connell was speaking. And before that, Connell had been a man. But at this particular conference, Connell comes as a woman, but didn't warn anybody, didn't tell anybody. And like everyone was, are you kidding me? So anyway, Connell is a trans woman, and she wrote the most important book on gender that there is in academia. So you got to scratch your head with that one. But
and Connell is considered a huge, especially in Australia, a huge expert.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's who everybody goes to.
And of course, that prompts me, Tom, to ask a question, if I might.
What's that?
Well, think about it. You make masculinity such an area of study that you get a doctorate and you write books and it becomes a lifelong pursuit.
Yeah.
Yet your own masculinity resulted in you cutting your dick and balls off.
Right.
What's wrong with that picture?
Let me see, Paul. Let me count the ways there's something freaking picture. Jeez, I mean, do we want to listen to someone's opinions about masculine and feminine who was so upset about their own sex that they wanted to change it to something else? It's just, you can't make this shit up, man. You cannot make this shit up. And this is who started the whole toxic masculinity thing. It was Connell who started the hegemonic masculinity piece, which all the academies just, glorify over. Oh, hegemonic masculinity. All these, oh my gosh.
And keep in mind that what Tom said is not an exaggeration. In the case of gender dysphoria, one of the characteristics of it is an absolute hatred for your own natural genitalia.
Yes, yes.
That is part of the condition that Connell has.
Yes.
Connell has. And he hated his genitals so much. He was so, repugnant as a reaction to them that he had them removed surgically, and now is considered the world's leading expert on masculinity. I mean, talk about you can't make this shit up. That's a sub-story in this. You can't make.
And that's the sub-story. But let's get back to techno-masculinity.
Sure.
Here's what he says right off the bat. What is techno-masculinity? ? Johnson explains that techno-masculinity refers to the brand of masculinity that conjures up perceptions of men as being proficient with computers and technology.
His name is really Johnson?
I hadn't even thought about that.
It's just keep on coming.
Yes. But anyway, they go ahead and this whole thing, and they talk about how games are associated with masculinity, and games are associated with violence and with the military, and they start compounding all these different things about games and masculinity and toxic masculinity and techno-masculinity. And what they're doing is they're trying to shame masculine competence. We need to keep in mind, every time you hear someone talk about toxic masculinity, you need to keep in mind what Peterson said about it. Peterson said that basically toxic masculinity is when feminists try and smear masculinity by confusing male competence with tyranny.
Is his name really Peterson?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I had to.
Jordan Peterson.
Yes, I know. But it's just like, what kind of coincidence is it?
It's like your last name, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But yeah, and this, Tom, is another way, just another area of male life that they want to invade, attack, take over it ideologically, shame the men who are involved with it.
Exactly.
And
demean
them. Yes, and demean them.
And make masculine competence something that is wrong.
And you'd think that they would have learned from Gamergate that at least that community ain't putting up with that shit.
Yeah, really. You wouldn't think so, but man, they're going after it. It's crazy stuff, eh?
Techno-masculinity.
The next on the list, things to shame in men.
Well, are male swimmers practicing aqua masculinity?
Probably. That'll be next, Paul.
Male horseback riders, equestro masculinity. They're going to come up with shit like this.
Anything men do where they have competence and are better than women, boom, they blow it up.
Boy, that covers a lot of ground.
It does.
Yes, it does.
The STEM stuff and the techno, the whole techno piece.
Techno
where men shine in both of those. Men have traditionally been just superior in those. And so that's where they attack. Crazy.
And there will be, of course, unfortunately, a huge population in academia that'll hear this and go, okay, sounds legit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Of course it's right.
It's the modern version of yes, dear. Oh, techno masculinity. Yes, dear.
Yeah.
Anything you say.
Of course, yes.
Of course you're right. You're never wrong.
Oh, God. I'm George Leroy Tirebiter. The Firesign Theater years and years ago, just coming back into my brain.
So anyway, you are dating yourself there, buddy.
Oh, God. How about number 4, Paul? We better get going.
Number 4. Oh, my God.
Before I get stuck in Firesign Theater.
Okay. Well, number 4 involves me sharing a secret with our audience, Tom.
Yeah.
I need you guys to lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg would say. You got to lean in. You got to listen real closely. It's okay to be white. Get that? Don't tell anybody, but it's okay to be white. It really is. I'm not kidding.
Are you sure?
Well, no, not according to the University of Manitoba. Which we can always count on our neighbors up north for shit you can't make up.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth?
Man, good Lord. Sorry, look, no offense to you Canadians out there, especially to you red pill Canadians, but your country's a fucking nut house. University of Manitoba is up in roars right now. They are losing their collective minds because somebody has been, or a group of people allegedly have been passing a meme on campus that says it's okay to be white. Oh God, Tom, I should have given a trigger warning with that.
Oh, Paul.
It really is. And they are, the university is pledged to rooting these evil people out. Story below. And they are responding to it, calling it a campaign of hate. And so what's happened is they got little signs that have been put up on university campus saying it's okay to be white. One office in the university got a fax that said it's okay to be white. And of course, they're reaching out now and trying to make an immediate connection between whoever is doing the It's Okay to Be White campaign and is radical anti-Islamists. And so, it's sort of like, they've always been saying that, if you're an MRA, that's the next step to the extreme alt-right, to the Jew-hating extremists out there. Jessica Valenti's, pulled that one out of her twat for the world to consider. But what they're saying at the University of Manitoba is that this is a hate actions of hateful people. And of course, what they're saying is a reaction to the implication by the social justice environment at Canadian universities, which is telling everybody, of course, that it is not okay to be white. That in fact, if you're white, you need to check your privilege. Especially if you're white and male, you need to shut up, get it out of the way. You need to take whatever abuse people hand to you and take on the shame. And the only way to redeem yourself is to become, one of their self-loathing quislings as a white person. I was so inspired by this that I put up a banner on my Facebook page that it's okay to be white. Got a lot of positive reaction, got a few triggers out of it. But it's amazing. Just saying Tom, what do you make of that? Just saying it's okay to be white, as though, I hope it's okay, because I'm about as white as a son of a bitch can get.
I'm stunned by it. If you saw the article, and you can look at the article, it's like 50 pieces of white paper, just regular old paper, with fairly small print that says it's okay to be white. It's not like, big banner or something. It's like little, and apparently the guy went around and stuck up 50 of these around campus. When he did it with it looks like masking tape. It's it's not really a professional job. It's just, and apparently too, they have video of the guy doing it. And the video shows that he was in a Halloween costume because it was October 31st. And then they said, well, he used a costume in order to not be identified.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. What I make of it, Paul, is this is insane. This is clinically
look at the reaction. It made national media in Canada. They're outraged at this. You've got SJWs that are losing their collective shit at the University of Manitoba because a guy put up a sign that said it's okay to be white.
It's like, wow. You know, I was thinking, what would Martin Luther King say? I mean, what would he say? I think he'd go, those people are freaking crazy.
I think he would. I think he would
They're
indeed.
just insane.
And if he wouldn't, then he was crazy. The fact is, it's okay to be any color. Now, I did have somebody show up on my Facebook page when I put that up there and saying, "What are you saying? You're proud of being white? You're proud of being white, huh?"
Sure.
Well, let me put the deal. No, the answer is no. I'm not proud to be white. I'm not proud to be tall either. I'm not proud to be American because I was born as all those things. I didn't have to work for any of them. Ask me what I've worked for, and I'll tell you whether or not I'm proud of it. Don't ask me about my born characteristics and ask if I take some sort of pride in them. I don't. It's just a matter of fact of who I am. But is it okay that I'm white? You're goddamn right it is.
Yeah, really.
And anybody that doesn't like it can blow me.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I've been talking to my therapist about expressing my feelings.
You're doing a good job, Paul.
Thank you.
Did you notice the name of the guy that put up the pieces of paper?
Well, it wasn't Dick, was it?
No.
No, I saw it, but I don't recall it.
His name was initial A, Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T, Man, M-A-N-N.
Really?
A Wyatt Man.
And that's okay.
I thought that was pretty clever, you know?
Yeah, but that can't be his real name.
Probably not, Paul.
No, I'm not thinking it's his real name.
No, but he did it to be, funny, I think. A Wyatt Man.
A Wyatt Man. Don't get me going on words. We'll be here all night.
Oh, God.
What's next?
I think that's it, Paul, isn't it?
Is that it? Did we exhaust all of our stories?
We did all of them.
Oh, man, that was fast.
That was.
Well,
got a joke?
We just have to. No, not. Oh, yeah. I will tell you a joke.
Tell me a joke.
One of our patron meetings. There's a guy that went to, they've got, the Queen was touring a hospital in the UK, and they were showing her around, and they passed a room, and there was a guy in there jerking off.
Uh-oh.
And the Queen, oh my God. What is this? We're sorry, Your Highness. This is a guy that's part of his condition, is that he compulsively masturbates. And she said, oh, okay, poor man. And they walk further down the hall and they pass a room and there's a guy in there getting a blowjob. and the Queen goes, oh my goodness, what is this? And they said, well, that guy has the same condition. He just has a better insurance.
The truth.
Yep.
Truth, man. Oh, better insurance.
For those of us that worked in a very insurance-related field, Tom and I probably find that joke funnier than most.
Yeah, probably so. But I'll tell you what, I think we need misandry insurance.
Yes, we do. I tell you what, you women better get some fucking CPR insurance.
Yeah, that's probably true.
He says laughing. We probably shouldn't be laughing, but what the hell?
What the hell, Led Zeppelin? So are we finished?
I'm done.
Me too. It's been good.
It's been good. It looks like, and since we'll never run out of these stories, looks like we'll just have to come back here and do it again.
We'll do episode 5 one of these days. But that's the close of number 4, I do believe. All right.
And Tom,
Oh,
go ahead.
men are good.
And it's okay to be white.
And a white man is okay too.
Men are good. It's just okay to be white, though.
We'll see you guys.
Take care.
Y'all
Bye.
take care. Let's see if I can turn the fucking thing off. Missed your line.
Missed my line.
Yeah. Turn the fucking thing off, go.
Oh, God damn it. Man, shit, I'm just lame.